Hey, what's up guys? Gray here. Welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. In today's video, I have an awesome Titan build that just breaks the game in so many different ways. It's a ton of fun to use and can actually deal some massive damage thanks to the combination of a few new mods and weapons this season. We're going to break it all down and cover every aspect of the build, but first, if you guys enjoy the video, do me a huge favor and hit that like button down below. It greatly helps out the channel and pushes the video out to more people. And of course, the easiest thing you can do to support the channel is to simply watch the video all the way through. Quickly, I'll also add, I made a video on an equally awesome Hunter PvE build recently that I will link up above and down in the description. And I have one planned for all my Warlocks out there as well. So if you're new around here, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. But that's enough shilling from me. Let's get into the build. Season of the Splicer has been a godsend for build crafting. It's like Bungie gave us a blank canvas and all the paint in the world to come up with some really fun and unique builds. And sure, some of the mods may be a little bit broken in the sandbox, but that's what makes them fun. The central mod of this entire build is one from the seasonal artifact, and it was causing some issues and actually got disabled for a bit towards the beginning of the season, but now it's back in full strength and it's still causing some crazy interactions with certain weapons. The mod I'm referring to here is, of course, Energy Accelerant. This mod does a hell of a lot more than it actually states, so we're going to take a look at it here. This mod says your Dragonfly, Chain Reaction, and Firefly explosions deal more damage. So it's kind of vague, but there's actually a lot of things that are affected by this mod that aren't listed here. So while it states it only affects Chain Reaction, Dragonfly, and Firefly, that's simply not the case. And being that Bungie already disabled this mod for a fix, I don't see the interactions changing again either. What typically occurs is that any weapon that causes some sort of explosion benefits greatly from Energy Accelerant and gives a huge damage boost to them. Some weapons make sense with it and others are kind of surprising. After seeing a lot of crazy combinations with Energy Accelerant throughout the whole community, I wanted to combine as many of them into one amazing, explosive build. We have a lot of other mods to go with this build, but we'll touch on that in a minute. Let's take a look at the weapons that we're going to be pairing alongside Energy Accelerant. All three of our weapons in this build will take advantage of this mod, so it's pretty awesome. Our primary of choice will be the beloved hand cannon, Fatebringer. This hand cannon just came back into Destiny 2 and it's available from the Vault of Glass raid. It is an extremely unique hand cannon in the fact that it can roll with the perk Firefly. Firefly is essentially an amped up version of Dragonfly. It deals solar damage and it can roll on kinetic weapons like Fatebringer, but it also has a form of outlaw built in, so whenever you get a precision kill, you get a really fast reload. So it's a really awesome perk and it makes the weapon feel great. And of course, Firefly is affected by Energy Accelerant and deals increased damage, so it makes the weapon even more potent. Now for our special weapon of choice, we're going to reach back a few seasons to an exotic that a lot of people might have forgotten about, the Ruinous Effigy. Ruinous did see some nerfs heading into Beyond Light, and a lot of people were upset about it because it just didn't make sense. It seemed like it was getting nerfed for no reason. It was really strong. But I have a feeling this season in particular was the reason they had to nerf it to prepare it for the mods in this season. Bungie added a full suite of trace rifle mods to the game and indirectly made that entire class of weapons much more viable by doing so. You can finally have things like Trace Rifle Ammo Finder or Trace Rifle Scavenger, and it greatly improves the ammo economy of this class of weapon. The reason why Ruinous Effigy is so unique and powerful in this situation is actually because of those transmutation spheres that the weapon creates. So just taking a look at the perks on Ruinous Effigy, we have Transmutation, where final blows with this weapon collapse the victims into a void transmutation sphere. And you can pick it up off the ground. That's the other perk on the weapon, Evolution. And you can pick up these balls and use them as a weapon. You have a light attack, a heavy attack that's like a slam, it does a big AoE, or you can press your block button to do like a bubble around you and it sort of drains the life of all the enemies trapped inside. It's really fun and really unique, and it can be really strong right now when we have Energy Accelerant. And then of course we also have the catalyst on Ruinous Effigy as well. It gives us the perk Deconstruction. And it says this weapon deals increased damage against targets that have been damaged by transmutation spheres. So if you were to hit someone with an orb or blow them up with a heavy attack, then your Ruinous Effigy is going to deal more damage to that target for a while. It's a really unique weapon and it was really cool, and it's awesome to be able to bring it into a build like this. And like I said, the beautiful thing about it is that these transmutation spheres are affected by energy accelerant. That's right, when we do a heavy attack slam with these orbs, the explosion it creates is amplified by energy accelerant. And not just a little, it's like a big damage buff. You can see in some of the gameplay, I'm literally walking up to champions, just slamming them, and they just die. It's amazing and it never gets old. It's really fun to use this weapon again, and it definitely makes this build unique. Now finally, in our heavy slot, we have a sword that has been making waves across the game this season, the Crown Splitter. This sword is so badass and straight looks like the Master Sword from Zelda. The sword was one of the 3 classic Gnostic swords from back in the days of Menagerie. Pour one out for Menagerie, fellas, we miss it dearly. However, those swords have been brought back this season, and they can roll with some great perks on them. These are easily farmable once you have unlocked the Blades Umbral Engram focusing lens at the Prismatic Recaster in the helm. Crown Splitter can roll with either Whirlwind Blade or Vorpal Weapon in the final column, and either of those perks are going to make the sword fantastic. And as I'm sure you could have guessed by now, the unique thing about Crown Splitter is that it too is affected by energy accelerant. The super badass slam attack from the sword causes a void explosion that is amplified by energy accelerant once again. It too can make laughably easy work of champions and take them out with one fell swoop. It is awesome. But this build isn't just a love letter to energy accelerant. It is much, much more than that. We still have room for a ton of other armor mods to really flesh out this build and make it even more powerful. Now, in this next section, we might hop around a bit. I'm going to talk about all of the amazing synergies you can have between this build and our armor mods and the subclass we're running, but don't worry, I will provide a full list of mods at the end of the section. Starting off with our subclass of choice here, we are running Middle Tree Sentinel on the Titan. This subclass is already really strong for PvE in its own right, but there is an incredible synergy available to this subclass this season that was just made for this build. Middle Tree Sentinel has the unique mechanic of Void Detonators. Anytime you hit an enemy with a Void ability, being your grenade, your melee, or your super, it attaches a Void Detonator to them. Upon taking further damage, they explode. What is already a super fun mechanic can really be taken to the next level thanks to another seasonal artifact mod, Warmind's Decree. This mod states that Void Splash Damage Final Blows can create Warmind cells. So now, our Void Detonators from all of our abilities have the potential to create Warmind cells. On top of that, our explosions from Ruinous Effigy and Crown Splitter will also both create Warmind cells. It's incredible. So now our subclass, special weapon, and heavy weapon will all create Warmind cells passively. But what about our old pal Fatebringer? To really round out our primary powerhouse Fatebringer, there are 2 simple mods that we want to include. Those mods are Wrath of Rasputin and Overload Hand Cannon. Wrath of Rasputin is very similar to Warmind's Decree, except it only costs 1 energy. It states that solar splash damage final blows have a chance to create Warmind cells. Fatebringer is creating solar explosions via Firefly and energy accelerant, and now it can also create Warmind cells. Pair this with Overload Hand Cannon for some anti-champion capabilities, and really, what can't this weapon do? For the rest of our armor mods, we'll keep it pretty straightforward. We want to make sure we are using Lucent Blade, which grants bonus damage on our sword whenever we are charged with light. And along with that, we also want to run Taking Charge, where picking up orbs of light will make us charged with light, allowing us to use Lucent Blade in the first place. You can really swap Taking Charge with a whole myriad of different green charged with light mods, but I always find that Taking Charge just provides an ease of use, and it happens just passively. You're going to be picking up orbs, you'll get charged with light. It's just less to think about. You can definitely spec out for other things, but if you want to just test out the build, taking charge works. Now, a quick note, I throw on Invigoration on my legs here to proc the secondary effect of Loosened Blade, which increases charge time, it decreases charge time on our swords. This can be done by either slotting an arc mod on the same piece of gear that Loosened Blade is on, or by using another arc charged with light mod on a different piece of gear. We aren't really using any other charged with light mods, but I still wanted the full effect of Loosened Blade, hence my decision here. It isn't fully necessary, but I would recommend it if you can make it work with your gear. And for a little bit of a wild card and a little added strength, I am also using the artifact mod Unstoppable Schwarzschild Condenser. I know it's a weird name for a mod, but this makes it so our void melee abilities are now capable of stunning unstoppable champions. Is it practical? Not necessarily, but you never know, and we have room for it, so why not throw it on? We're already on a void subclass, and you never know. You might encounter a champion who's unstoppable. You can just punch him in the face and he'll get stunned, and it's a really fun mod. I liked it a few seasons ago with smoke bombs on hunters, and it works great for Sentinel as well. So did you catch all that? Feel free to go back to the previous timestamp to catch the full breakdown again, but I'll also provide the full list of all needed mods here as follows. You're going to need one Global Reach, you're going to need one Overload Hand Cannon, Wrath of Rasputin, Taking Charge, Loosened Blade, Schwarzschild Condenser, Warmind's Decree, and Energy Accelerant. I like to provide this list of mods here because you can just pause the video, look at the list, and pull up all the mods and put it together. So I always like to give a recap of that. For my exotic armor of choice, I'm just running Ursa Furiosa. These are a really great pairing for the Middle Tree Sentinel Super, of course, and will help this build stay relevant in harder content like Nightfalls. You could swap it out for something like Stronghold if you really wanted to lean into more of the sword gameplay, but I feel like Ursa really rounds out the build and helps us still fill that support role that Sentinel typically fills. Of course, you'll want to flush out any open space in your armor with trace rifle and sword ammo mods, and lastly, take a good look at your stats and fill in any remaining spots on your armor with stat mods. I'm going to point this out because I've seen a lot of people who don't know about this, but when you're looking at your armor and it shows you down in the bottom right, the stat breakdown, there's a small icon down here that you can click. It sort of flips that stat display. You can see your totals right there. So you can sort of mess with your stat mods and see, oh, if I take 5 discipline, it'll bump me up a tier. And you can really min-max your stats if you take advantage of that without having to tab in and out all the time to your character and your armor. Once you have all these mods equipped alongside with your exotic armor of choice and the weapons explained earlier, you are ready to be an absolute PvE god. And that's the build, guys. You have great ad clear from Fatebringer and Firefly, big damage and more ad clear from Ruinous, and massive single target damage from Crown Splitter, all working together with Energy Accelerant and Warmind's Decree to just destroy everything. I know Breach and Clear is the new hotness this season, but Warmind's Decree and Energy Accelerant are really powerful, so I hope you'll give this build a try and see how much fun and how strong it really is. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the video. If you made it this far, I would greatly appreciate you leaving a like down below for me. And like I said earlier, be sure to check out my Ultimate Hunter PvE build video from the other day and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future content. Warlocks are up next. I hope you enjoy the build. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments and I'll be sure to reply. I hope you have fun with the build. Peace.